It's so exciting to be here, and it's so great that Product Hunt TO started around the same time that Wealthsimple did, because you've grown up with us. Can I press next on this? Or okay, that's better. And I'm so excited to come here and share some of our learnings in the past year. For those of you who don't, so my name is Huda, sorry. I lead product and design, like Dorina mentioned, at Wealthsimple, and we're 11 months old. We're almost a year old also, just like you guys. And for those of you who don't know, Wealthsimple is Canada's fastest growing online investment manager. We make smart investing low cost, transparent, and easily accessible to anybody. And we're really committed to making a really simple experience that is designed around user behavior. That's a big thing that we all rally around at all times. This is a really quick snapshot of where we were, where we started, and where we are now. So we raised a $2 million seed in May of 2014. We did the public launch of our web product in September of last year. And we launched our mobile apps, the first version, in December of that year, and I'll go into them a little later and why we decided to do mobile the time that we did, because we were a couple months out. We then raised a rather large Series A for a company that was 7 months out of the product launch, $30 million from Power Financial, and we're so excited to have them as our partners in this. And recently, about a month ago, we launched the second version of our mobile apps, which make getting started with investment as easy as clicking on a button. Onboarding has been reduced to just 10 minutes. We are the first Canadian investment manager to launch something that lets you create and fund an investment account just from your phone. So this is what our website looked like when we launched, and this is what it looks like today. But there are changes coming, so stay tuned on that. This is what our product looks like. We're big fans of simplicity. It's kind of in our name, so we have to. And when you log in and you've invested money with Wealthsimple, all we show you is a giant number, and that tells you what your portfolio is worth today, and it gives you a pretty simple graph. You can also go through a couple of your accounts. We've given it a little bit of a refresh, but not too much. We've encouraged more of our clients to open up different types of accounts. So if you have an RSP and a TFSA, you can have both in Wealthsimple, and people weren't aware of that at the beginning because our UI didn't suggest it, and now it does a little better. We're also big fans of data, and it's helped us make a lot of the product decisions that we've made and that have proven successful over the 1 year we've been around. One thing that we noticed that really stood out to us, that 1 in 3 Wealthsimple users would log in on the web every single day, which is a really high engagement metric, but it's interesting for a company of our style in which we ask that people not check their investments all the time. Because it's a passive methodology and it's more of a set it and forget it scheme. What we did next was launch mobile apps, and we did 2 rounds of usability testing, and what was really interesting is that all of our users, one of whom we ended up recruiting and who leads marketing for us, were convinced that we shouldn't create a mobile app. It just encourages people to check their investments all the time. But what ended up happening is that 80% of our users currently check their accounts and log into the mobile apps every month. 20% of them do it every day. Another thing that we noticed was that most users were just putting in one-time contributions, so they would either transfer their account over, do a giant lump sum, and because Wealthsimple is all about making investing accessible for everybody, what about those people who didn't have large lump sums to invest? And that's when we launched automated contributions. You can automatically put in money from your bank account to Wealthsimple every week, every 2 weeks, every month, and this makes investing a lot easier for all investors. Our onboarding used to suck. It used to take an hour to complete. We made it a little better. So it took 30 minutes, we removed a bunch of steps, and then we made it really good, and now it takes 10 minutes. And that's the second version of our mobile apps, which we're really excited about. It's actually pretty simple. You guys can on iOS and Android, you can look for Wealthsimple on the App Store and download it right now. You can try and see if you can beat the 10-minute mark if you want. It's really cool, and I'd love to hear feedback. We live on feedback. It's pretty simple. There's 3 steps. You answer a risk questionnaire. You can take out your ID and scan it. We're a financial services app, so our onboarding is really different from something like a social network. We require a lot more information because we need to. But we're in the business of making it really easy. We want to make sure that you can get started with the click of a button, like funding your account. We got featured in the App Store, which was really exciting for us. And Apple has been great partners. This is great. The timer is beeping at me. Yeah, and we're huge fans of the Product Hunt community. Thank you so much, Dorina, for having us. You've been a huge supporter of ours from the beginning, and we're really grateful. And to the entire community, we'd love for you to check us out. We have a special referral bonus for you. So if you get started today using the link wealthsimple.com/producthunt, the blue on blue is my fault. You can get your first $10,000 managed for free because we really do think Wealthsimple is great and you'll stick around. Thank you once again, and I'd love to take questions. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Wealthsimple user here. You probably have even received feedback emails from me. If not you, then Tyler for sure. So I just wanted to get a better understanding of are you guys currently focusing on your mobile, or now you're sort of off that because you've launched version 2 and now you're focusing more on the web? Or how are you guys splitting your attention between mobile and web? And also, where are you seeing the most growth from?
That's a great question. So mobile was launched a month ago, so our numbers are skewed a little bit, but it's been a great channel for us. Something that we didn't quite expect, but it's been incredible. And what we hope to do now is not let any of the platforms be too far away from each other. So we'd love to bring the easiest, simplest onboarding to both platforms as we can. There's also a lot of more sophisticated financial operations that we hope to build in. So without getting into a lot of details, just moving money within your accounts or having asset location, which is a very financially jargon term, for the way that you handle investments across different types of accounts for better tax benefits, is something that we hope to bring. And when that kind of comes in, I feel like we have a really good foundation now that we can serve up all the information in the right way on both platforms. But I think our focus now is on real sophistication, so we can cater to the growing community of clients that we have that require that kind of sophistication. That's really simple. They don't have to think about it, and we do all the work for them. We're focused a lot on building more of the brains behind it now. Sorry.
Where's the growth coming from?
Where's the growth coming from? Right now, mobile's really, really hot for us right now. But I'd be cautious in saying mobile is better than web just because it's so new. And I'd love to wait a little bit before I can definitely say that that's the one. It's definitely faster. Mobile users commit way faster than web users do. Oh, someone there? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Great presentation. I wanted to ask you about the onboarding side of things. You mentioned that you have recently launched mobile apps and that you're looking to get this onboarding thing down. What have been some of the challenges in terms of onboarding, especially on mobile, and how did you, overcome those?
Yeah, that's a great question because that's been my life for the last little while. Mobile onboarding was interesting because we were trying to use mobile as a platform to make onboarding faster. We were already getting, if you go to the web and you sign up, we get you to sign with the trackpad, which is a lot less natural than using your finger to sign on your mobile screen. So those things were easy, taking a photo was really easy, et cetera. But mobile specifically was really challenging because we ask you a lot of questions. We ask you, if you're married, where does your spouse work? Because we're required to ask you that information. We ask you for your social insurance number. These are just pieces of information that people don't have easily accessible to them. And we found that was really tricky to try and condense everything and summarize it in a way that would fit in a mobile onboarding and not lose users instantly. So we did some shortcuts in that, in which we combined a lot of our yes/no questions into one. So if you answered yes to one of them, we'd give you a filtered down version of another question. So we would combine a lot of them and say, are you A and B? And if they would say yes, then we would say, okay, more details about A. So we did a lot of that, a lot of condensing. We also used a couple of different interactions. I don't have that screen on me. Funding, for example, was a big one for us. Here you see a screen that lets you just put in an amount and say invest now and just select an account. We don't currently have that on the web. And we did that purely for mobile because any other type of funding on mobile would have been impossible. So we had to get really creative about avenues on mobile specifically, and we also just had to condense a lot of our onboarding It wasn't easy, and it went through a lot of iterations. But we did it in about, it was just under 2 months that we went from the very beginning to the launch. So it worked out well.
Okay, and we have time for one more question over here.
Hi there.
Hi.
Congratulations. It's awesome. So my question's around, you mentioned that you didn't want people checking their phones to see their everyday portfolio every day, because especially like the last couple days.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Everybody calm down. So my question is, has there been any data around the success of your users' portfolios versus a traditional bank's portfolio? And have you been seeing that, yeah, hey, by checking your account every month or every week, you're more likely to either A, earn more, or B, earn less? And if it's earn less, what are you doing to help your users stop doing that?
That's a great question, and we did actually get a lot of requests and call-ins, and we are what we call on-demand advice, so people can log into their app and call their financial advisor at any time. And so we received a lot of calls, needless to say, in the last couple of days. What's been really interesting, though, the response was largely positive from our users, so we do see a lot of people checking their accounts all the time. Performance will be better with Wealthsimple because our fees are a fraction of the cost of the banks. So that's almost an unfair thing to test. A bank will charge you 2.4% and we'll charge you 0.5. So if I look at performance, regardless of whether a user is checking their account, like, yes, it will be better. But what's really good is that I think it's an educational piece to it. Users are learning more and more. We actually had a couple of users say, I wish I had more money to buy more now that the stock markets are down, which was really interesting because we didn't expect that at all. And that's what we're seeing more and more, is that our users are becoming more educated about finance, and maybe checking their app all the time, really for us, is a transparency thing. We're really big on being transparent. A bank gives you a quarterly statement. We don't want to do that. You live in the new age. Quarterly statements and papers are a thing of the past, so you should be able to check your account whenever you want. So it was more for transparency, but it'll be really interesting to see how that drives behavior for our users in the future, for sure. Great question, thanks.
We got a question right here.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
I have a quick question regarding the customer acquisition. How did you get your first 100 customer?
Ooh.
And did you do the thing, don't scale, like you talk to customers directly and physically and convince them to put the money into your website?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. We, and I'll be quick, we're really proud of some of our first few customers. It was mostly word of mouth and referrals, and we do a lot of things that don't scale. Mike, who's our CEO, his personal cell number is included in every welcome email that a client gets, and they can call him at any time. One of them called him at 11:30 last night. It was cool, and that's something that we want to maintain. We want to maintain, hopefully, as much as we can moving forward. But a lot of it was that we are very committed to providing the absolute best client experience out there. And in doing that, we talk to our users on text if that's more efficient for them. Our financial advisors will get on video chat with you if that's easier. Anything that we can do to make it better for you, we will do it. So we do a lot of things that don't scale, and the first 100 clients we did get through word of mouth and referrals. Thanks. Great.